Hi folks, Tim Sundles here. Kim and I just finished part one of our comprehensive review and coverage of the 357 Magnum. And we stopped part one by getting into the 3-inch barrel J-frames, and that's where we left off. So we're at the 3-inch barrel mark. We've come from 1 7/8 lightweight scandium guns to the 3-inch J-frames, and which means, we've covered other stuff in between. So now we're at the 3-inch mark. And let me say again that my minimum barrel length for outdoor usage is an adjustable sided 3-inch barrel. And this is one of the Lipsy's new Pythons. It's got some bling on it. And I've talked about the 2.5-inch Python, why it doesn't work for me very well. If I'm going to carry a Python, it's going to be the 3-inch. It balances better for me. It just feels better. And I like this 3-inch barrel. For outdoor use, I start at 3-inch barrels and generally go, depending on my mode of carry, in a shoulder holster, I'll go all the way to 6 inches, but I prefer 3 and 4-inch barrels. With this adjustable sight, this 3-inch barreled gun qualifies for outdoor use or for social carry. And this gun's got some bling on it and stuff, and I just ordered it because they're a limited edition and they're cool, and I didn't have a 3-inch Python. So very much like this. It is, bigger and heavier than the 3-inch J-frame. It does hold one more shot. The J-frame is 5, this is 6, and I like it for that reason. But there's quite a bit of weight difference, and it's all personal taste. This is a gun I would carry. I would carry it outdoors if I lived in an area where 357 mag was what I felt I needed. The 3-inch Python is probably worth owning. Now, no collection of 357s and discussion of 357s is complete without talking about the Ruger SP-101. This is similar in size to the 3-inch J-frame, but it's a little heavier built. It's a little sturdier gun. You can't shoot it loose even with full house barn burning loads. And I'll get my wife to focus on this one. Outdoors, I carry these two loads the most. And this is our 180 grain hard cast with a gas check. This is a 180 grain XTP expanding bullet. And for outdoor use with 357, because of where I live, I like those heavier bullets, and I like that penetrating hard cast bullet. But it's because, I live in the Rockies, and if I'm going to carry a 357 mag outdoors, it's going to have to be able to penetrate all the way through a bear. And I'm going to tell you when I show you the next 3-inch revolver, I'm going to tell you a true bear story. Anyway, the SP-101, it's a 5-shot, just like the J-frame Smith. And this one has fixed sights. The first few runs of these they made were with fixed sights. I don't know why. I've had this one for 20-some years. I would rather have it for outdoor use with adjustable sights. So in case my chosen load doesn't shoot to point of aim at, say, 25 yards, I can always click adjust it in. Anyway, highly usable, highly durable, highly functional, a good idea, a good design. The SP-101, you just can't, if you want a 3-inch 357, good luck finding a better one unless you go to a bigger gun that holds 6 rounds. Very nicely done. Their trigger pulls aren't as nice as a Smith & Wesson and a few other things, but they're nicely done. They're rugged as can be. I mean, this is a gun you can throw in the water for 24 hours, take it out, and just use it. I mean, Smith & Wesson is too. But anyway, good gun.
And no, we're not going to do that test for you.
Yeah, I was just watching one of the Pierce brothers tests. They're dumping muddy water all over this poor gun and everything, and surprise, and of course it was a semi-auto, surprise, surprise. Didn't work until they washed all the mud out of it and off of it, then it started working again. Another gun worth mentioning is the Smith & Wesson Model 65. This was FBI issue for some time. It has a blued counterpart. This is the 65. The blued counterpart is the Model 13. My only complaint is fixed sights. And like I said, it was an FBI issue for a long time. And if you're a sick, twisted individual, you'll have two. It's just part of being a gun crank. Highly useful. I recommend it. I don't like the fixed sights unless it happens to shoot your chosen load to point of aim anyway. Go for it. Next one up, another K-frame. This is a Lou Horton special. This is the Model 66 with a 3-inch barrel. It's a hell of an outdoor gun. And you know, I've talked about these K-frames not being that durable, that they're a little bit elegant, and they are, but if you want to shoot a limited supply of these full power 357 mag loads, you're not going to hurt the gun. You know, just don't go out and plink with them. Because eventually the timing, the gun will go out of time, which by the way, if you shoot a Smith & Wesson out of time, it's no big deal. They can get retimed. But if you get really stupid with ultra powerful ammo and stretch the frame, that's a little more complicated to fix. It can be more or less fixed, but these K-frame Smith & Wessons probably aren't quite as durable as the new model J-frame Smith & Wessons when it comes to full power 357 mag loads. Now, we're gonna talk about Lframes in a second. We're headed for the Lframes. And when we get into Lframes, they're super duper durable. And for me, they handle as well as the K-frames. We'll talk about that in a minute. Oh yeah, and if you're just really a pervert, you'll have two. You know, and I used to have more. They were, like I said, a Lou Horton exclusive. I don't even know if Lou Horton exists anymore, but they used to get gun manufacturers to make exclusive runs of guns, and you could only buy them through Lou Horton. Well, now Lipsy's does the same thing, and I like the folks at Lipsy's, and I actually buy quite a few guns through Lipsy's and have been for over 20 years anyway. Anyway, super duper usable with the adjustable sights. It's, you know, semi lightweight. It's K-frame. I mean, it's all steel, so it's not that light, but 6-shot 357, and feel free to shoot the full power loads in it, sight the gun in with them, and just don't make it a habit of plinking with them. Carry them for, you know, serious use. Lframes. This is an Lframe. This happens to be a scandium, titanium, aluminum, whatever they've got in these things. They got more mixes of steel in these lightweight things than you can imagine. And the early ones used to show a symbol of an atom. Can you get a close-up of that? Can you see that little insignia pretty well? And that was just Smith & Wesson's way of saying this is cutting-edge metallurgy for handguns. And 3.5-inch barrel Lframe, which means being an Lframe, it's a 7-shot 357. There's one downside to this, and that is the cylinder is also that aluminum, scandium stuff. And if you shoot full power loads out of it, chances are you're going to get sticky extraction. Smith & Wesson does make a version of this Lframe with an all steel cylinder. It's heavier, but it still has the scandium aluminum frame with a steel cylinder, and you can definitely shoot the full power stuff in those without sticky extraction. They also make an end frame, same way with all the, at least they used to. They've changed their models so much, folks, I honestly can't keep up with everything they do. But they were making an end frame that's a 8-shot 357. They had one with the aluminum cylinder, and they had one with the all steel cylinder. You know, what a cool outdoor gun with the all steel cylinder, just shooting the full power 357 hard cast or the 180 grain jacketed. I mean, what a great outdoor gun. And you'll notice, if I can get my wife to film this, I had to unload this one because I had been using it recently. And my first 2 shots were 158 grain expanding jacketed hollow points. They're gold dots. And the last 5 shots are 180 grain hard cast for deep penetration. And I'll keep stressing that point, you know, 1 or 2 softs up front when you're carrying for social work, the rest deep penetrating. Or if you're, you know, only using a 5-shot gun, I just go with probably, I mean, I just shoot the hard wad cutter 38 specials out of them. It's very, very deadly load, and I don't carry a combination of ammo. That's just a low recoiling, deadly load if you're dealing with social work. Okay. Oh, well, I'm not at 4-inch guns yet. Another 3.5-inch gun. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 27, 3.5-inch. It's built on the end frame, which is the 44 mag frame. Because of the heavy construction of this gun, you can just shoot steaming hot loads through it forever. You know, you'll shoot your barrel out before you end up messing up your timing and stuff. Super duper useful if you don't mind the weight and the size. The Model 27 is all deluxe. It was one of Smith & Wesson's flagships for years. They were always extra money, but boy, are they nice. Can't say enough about the end frame 3.5-inch for duty carry. I mean, if you were a policeman using a revolver, and we have sheriff's deputies here in this county that still carry end frame revolvers. I mean, it's really, really hard to beat this. Gosh, they're wonderful. Now we're going to step up to 4-inch guns. And I have a lot to cover on the 4-inch guns for outdoor and duty use, social use. This is an old Smith & Wesson Model 28. It was the economy version of the Model 27. The Model 27's got the high gloss blue and nice stippling. I mean, they're just beautiful guns. The 28, they called it the Highway Patrolman. They made it just for duty carry. This is a 4-inch gun, you know, and it's got the slim down barrel just like the Model 27s or just like the mountain guns, but it's on the heavy end frame. What a cool, useful revolver. And back in the day when you were paying, I mean, you got to understand, I'm an old man. Back in the day when I was a teenager or in my 20s and you were paying $700 for one of these, that was like paying $2,000 now or more. But you could get the Model 28 Highway Patrolman, same frame, same barrel, same action, slightly different trigger, and not the nice stippling on the top strap and all that, and a low luster, almost a Parkerized blue. You could get this for $200 less. And it was just as good a gun, it just wasn't as nicely appointed. And if I was gonna carry a 357 for duty use and I wanted to shoot barn burning mad bastard ammo, I'd probably carry this gun or this gun. I'm not afraid to carry the pretty guns and wear the bluing off. I don't care. How far along are we, babe? How many minutes?
15.
We try to keep these below 25 minutes so that we don't mess with the upload time. It's pretty hard, especially in this remote location, to upload long videos. This is a classic Python, one of the old Pythons. 4-inch barrel, and for me, the 4 and 3-inch barrel Pythons are the cat's whiskers. It's a little bit smaller frame than the N frame. It's a little bit bigger frame than the K frame Smith & Wesson. So it's more of like a L frame, mid frame sized. The vintage Pythons for me always had a couple detractors. One was the choked barrel, which made them like stupid accurate, but it also slowed down the velocity. The other was that they just weren't all that durable. You shot a lot of full power loads out of these, and you were gonna have to rebuild the internals. The timing would just go to hell in them. Having said that, there's no smoother action, and in this 4-inch gun, for me, there's probably no better feel than the 3 and 4-inch Pythons. I mean, they're just a thing of beauty. They're not durable, and if I was going to carry one as a duty gun and use it a lot, I wouldn't run this full power ammo through them very much. Maybe enough to sight in and then carry use. But I'd be more in the tactical 357 range of ammo than I would the full power. And that tactical ammo, believe me, is plenty powerful. and I would probably use a lot of these 3 loads in it as well. You're never going to harm the timing or wear the internals out doing that. And this is why we make different 38 special and 357 ammo. You know, ammo needs to be purpose designed. And that's just a problem I have getting the average shooter to understand. If you just want something that goes bang, buy anything. But our ammo is purpose designed. It's purpose designed to maximize its utility in certain types of guns and for certain types of situations. And there's a lot of crossover there. I mean, you could shoot any of these loads in any of these guns, but it's purpose designed for use in certain guns for certain applications. Some of them are anti-personnel or social, others are outdoor use, and there's some in between gray area stuff, like this lower recoil tactical 357 in the middle. And one of those features a Barnes all copper bullet that's 125 grains. The other one features an XTP, lead-based jacketed bullet that's 125 grains. And if you compare to the full power loads down there, look at the velocity difference between these 125 grainers and the tactical 125 grainers. Big difference. The if my only concern was social use, I doubt I would use any of the full power stuff. That stuff's made for deer hunting. And, it's made for shooting deer with a 6-inch revolver out to 100 yards. Okay. The tactical stuff's made for self-defense. So we will conclude part 2 right here, and we'll get into the 4-inch barrels in more depth and some of the bigger frames, even some of the K-frame 4-inch barrels, which carry like a dream. We'll get into those next. And folks, I hope some of this has been of benefit, and I hope that, I just hope you have a good day. Kim and I are getting so many wonderful comments these days from people that are appreciating a look at guns with no political correctness, in other words, no lies, and just plain straight talk from people that have done it. I guess that's me. I've done so much of it, and I don't learn my stuff from YouTube videos. So a lot of YouTube videos make me gag because there's just a lot of misinformation. So we're trying to produce YouTube and Rumble videos that
educate.
Won't make you gag. They're filled with truth, based on experience, based on a lot of, not just experience either, just based on a lot of learning over the years. And we hope they're of great value, or at least some value, to the viewers. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you in part 3. God bless.